Okay. Now what I'm looking at doing is this plane of the neck is our working plane. This is the datum, if you like. Now we cut the tenon square with this surface, so this will be absolutely square. Donk, donk. But the back isn't. We just roughly bandsawed that to a bit of thickness there. So I want to plane this back square with the fretboard surface there. Now looking at the dimensions of the Flying V, where you get the basically the fretboard lies flat on the neck, around there, 20.5 fret. It just lies flat on the neck there. So we know that this tongue thickness has been measured at 3/8 of an inch, and I'd be pretty happy with that measurement, because it's a very easy thing to measure. People can see the joint and measure it. So basically the body is 1.5 inch, 38.1 mil. So this is 3/8 of an inch, which is 9.5 millimeters. So we want the neck thickness, I think, to be, if we do about 28.5 millimeter depth, and we've currently got 33. So if we plane this down to, for now, maybe round to 29 or something like that. I mean, we've got a bit of adjustment to do with this neck pocket anyway. So, I mean, currently we have 27.28 on that. So that's probably got to go down a little bit when we settle the neck angle. So I'm going to cut this to at least 28.5 mil, and I'll take you over and show you how I do that and make it exactly parallel to this. Right, hi there. This little device here in my drill press here is called a safe T planer. It's basically a planing bit. Now I've checked that the level of this and the level of the planer are dead parallel. So if I plane this neck, hold the neck flat on here and plane this down, we'll be making it parallel. So what I've done, I just start off with a very light cut and we'll see how it goes. Right, we can definitely see it's not parallel because it's taking wood off this side and not off that side. So we'll keep going down with it. I only do it in 1/2 mil increments, otherwise it gets a bit chunky. Now we can tell it's parallel because it's cutting the full width. Not quite actually cutting the full width, there's still a bit there, so I'll come down a bit more and then we'll measure it. I'm sure that'll be fine. Right, now we've planed off the full width. Let's just check for squareness and dimension here. So we know that the joint is square with the top. We measured that. So let's have a look how accurate the bottom is now. It's absolutely perfectly parallel. No rock in that at all. And we're currently at 31.5 millimeters. So we've got, I want to bring it down to about 29, 28.5, 29. Like I say, little increments, because this thing is not, you know, you can't cut a hole in the Queen Mary with it. I'll bring you back when I get there. Well, right, I've done both of them now, and thickness wise 28.85 and 28.88, hardly surprising because I did them with the cutter the same. So they're kind of in the ballpark now. They might have to go down slightly more, but I'm not going to take any more wood off until I can you know, basically you know, get the neck angles set and things like that. So I'm happy with that. Next thing I want to tackle is getting these headstock things to the right thickness. Now I'm pretty sure from memory the Les Paul headstock thickness of the era, it's slightly sloped, slightly less at the end than sort of, it had a slight slope to it, which gives it a nice feel. I mean, I don't know if the V's like that or not. I'd have to say I guess so, but I you know, can't find any evidence, and the slope is only a maximum of like 1 mil or something like that anyway. It's not a lot. I'll check up on the Les Paul thickness, but it did vary. I know in the Burst book they have a multitude of dimensions from different guitars that show that the headstock thickness varied quite a lot, you know, from sort of between 14 and 16 millimeters, I think, at the end, which is quite a way. But we'll have a check on that, and because what I want to do is, we know this surface is flat, and while I've got this, I can thickness the headstock there, so try and get on with that. Right, hi, well, I've had a little investigate. Now the Les Paul headstock goes from 15.5 millimeters to 16.5 millimeters, where it flares out for the you know, the volume to the, not the volume, but you know, the transition to the neck. I've got a Les Paul template here, I think. Now that's the difference in thickness, although don't forget this is the Les Paul one. This has got a millimetre of veneer on top of it, so you've got to give it another millimetre, but there's quite a vast difference in thickness there. You know, there's a few millimeters, probably 2 or 3 millimeters difference, which is obviously not right. And looking at this template here, this is where the last the 2 E-string tuners are. Now if you put, like, this is a standard Clousson tuner off like a Gibson, if you actually made that the finished thickness of the headstock, now that's the nut done up on it without any finish or anything, you wouldn't be able to get a string in there. That's ridiculous. So I am I think, you know, this is the Les Paul one, and this would give you, you know, a sensible, you know, considering you've got to add a millimetre on there as well, that would give you, you know, that gives you a sensible height to get the, there we go, to get the string in the tuner and everything. There's about a millimetre there. So I'm going to go with the Les Paul finished thickness of headstock plus headstock veneer. So at this end I'm going to be doing 15.5 going up to 16.5 about here. So what I've done, I want a millimetre slope on this, so I've glued a millimetre spacer on there, and I shall go underneath here and trim it down now, and we'll get to that, you know, we'll come down to that thickness. And again, this is the square end, so this is the end we want to work from. So yeah, let's get doing that. It's a bit slow boat to China this, so I won't show it because this doesn't cut very fast. I mean, I suppose I could set up my router again and do it with that, and to be honest, I am quite, I'll have a go on this, but what I don't like is this table isn't very long, so you know, I can't get the, you can get the whole thing underneath, but you're struggling a little bit. Hi there, and welcome back to 3R Guitars in this 58V pair of 58V builds. Carrying on from yesterday, we thicknessed the neck tenon and made sure it's exactly parallel with that funny planing device I've got for my drill press. Now I want to thickness the headstock. And I think we talked yesterday in video about what sizes I want to make it, kind of matching the Les Paul, because the original, the template I got with this, it's obviously far too thick. I mean, this is a standard tuner, and when you look at it, you know, you'd only have like less, you know, nearly 2/3 of the actual string winding part. A third of the string winding part would be actually in the headstock. It would look a bit silly. So obviously that's too thick. So I'm doing Les Paul thickness on this, like 15.5 at the end up to 16.5 in towards the neck end. And the way I'm doing that is I'm going back to my overhead router that we did the pin routing on for the body, but I've taken the pin away underneath. I've glued a 1mm or just a bit more than 1mm bit of wood on the end, so when this is flat on the table, it's got a slope on it, so this end will end up thicker. So I've just got a plain cutter in here, and I'm just going to pass this underneath there a few times, and we'll see where we get. So let's just wind this up to I just want to take a tiny cut off first, and I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you in a moment, hang on. Alright, here we go. Right, so we can see we've planed that off, and if we check the thicknesses we're starting with, it's still going to be way too thick. We've got 19mm there. Yeah. 19 mil there and 20.83 there, 19.48. So we've got kind of the taper we want. Now it's just bringing it down to thickness. One thing with this sort of thing, you know, always check, because it's so easy to, you know, just do something and then you make a silly mistake or whatever. You don't want us to do that after all this work. So, you know, just be careful. I'll get back to you when I'm done with it. Well, hi there. I've planed this down now. So if we look at the sizes at this end, 16 mil, so I've got 0.5 millimetre to take off that with sand in, and then we basically 16.98 mil that end. So yeah, we're about right. So we want to be like 16.5 at this end and 15.5 at that end, so we're all good with that. I stopped short, and see there's the original thickness there. I stopped short there because you want to run this into the neck. If you bring this up too much, you don't end up with a nice transition between the back of the neck and the what's it, so back of the neck and the headstock. So stop a bit short there. So that's all good now. We can take this scrap bit off and I'll get back to you. Right, what I want to do now is actually start working on getting the neck joints. I mean, they're a good stiff fit in the body now. I mean, they're too stiff really. I want to ease them a little bit. And when we routed the, you know, the neck channel, the mortise joint, you know, we've got the round edges of the router cutter there. So what I want to do is like square up these edges roughly, so we get in the neck closer in the position we want it in. So this is going to be like a handheld job really, just with a saw. There's no point in trying to automate it at all. You'll be there for a month of Sundays. But anyway, I'm going to try and just get these a bit squarer now, and just have a check, make sure that we're, you know, we've got our lines in the right place. And the neck joint is going to be, yeah, that's fine. So check that line there with the square. So this is where our neck joint wants to be. So that's where the neck joint starts. So I want to cut these corners out there. The other thing is to note that you know, the neck joint, basically those shoulders on there have got to be sloped, so the neck angles downwards. I'm just going to cut them square for now, and then when we come to tip the neck down, we'll have to take you know, a bit off the bottom here, but I like to fit the neck and then use the edge of the body as a guide, because you know, with the neck tipped back, you'll get a gap at the top and it will touch at the bottom when it's at the right angle. So you can use that body edge there to draw a line down the neck. Let's get it. That's a bit damn confusing. So I'll work on getting these squared off. Okay, I've got my neck in the vise here, and I've squared up the corners, cut those radiuses out. Now I'm just taking down the tenon a little bit because it's too tight. Now it's very important that you get this nice, and it's so easy, say if you use a file or something like that, to rock the file a little bit and have a, you know, end up with not a square edge. I mean, if it's a fraction, I would recommend draw filing it sort of like that, and you're taking a bit off so you're keeping it square, or even use a scraper. I mean, I'm using a chisel here, but it's wide enough. Just like scrape it off and do the same on both sides. I mean, I'm just literally taking fractions off now, and this is why I like to get the you know, the router, let the router do the main part of the work and get it quite accurate, or very accurate, because that's going to cut squarer than you can do it by hand, as long as it's set up right. Right, now let's see how the neck is fitting in the body here now. Oh, that's going in nicely. So it's still tight, but it goes all the way to the bottom there. The tongue is a bit long here, I'll be trimming that off, and you can see how well that fits in there. Really nice. So let's just check how square it is. Where's my long ruler? Oh, well, wherever it is, it's disappeared, but I mean, we're absolutely perfect. I'm halfway across the truss rod channel, which is in the center of the neck, and if I bend this down here, it is absolutely perfect on the joint between the two body halves. So really chuffed with that. So what I think I'm going to do now is I'm just going to trim. When you see pictures of the end of the neck tenon, they never meet up at the end. There's always a gap there, but on this, I mean, this obviously allows a bit of scrap on the end or whatever, but it's too long because we've done the neck tenon to the perfect size with the joint that's there, so we've obviously got to take a little bit off there, which is not unusual at all. So yep, I'll get back to you when that's done. Right, okay, I've trimmed the end of the neck there, and now very typically cut off about 1/8 of an inch short and chamfers put on the edge. The neck's still got to go a little way back, as you can see now it's flat against its angled body hole kind of thing, and we're slightly above body level there. Now that is because the neck has got the neck tenon is slightly, we made it slightly too wide, slightly too deep. I mean, I think it's meant to be about 27 millimeters, and we're about 28, something like that. But I'm not worried about that at the moment, because I want to, you know, I can adjust that, you know, when I do the actual tip on the neck to match up to the bridge. I think I'll have a quick check of that now, but I'll find my ruler and get back. Well, here's the first look-see at the neck angle. I've got this old Gibson fretboard that I'll put on just for now, just to give us the thickness of the neck, and I can see that it's maybe mil and a half above the body there, so the neck's got to go down at least 1.5 millimeters. And I think from memory I made the neck angle when I routed this mortise out with this template, held at an angle. I did it to about 3 degrees, and by all accounts Les Paul flying V's with anywhere between 2.5 degrees or 2 degrees to about 4 would be quite a lot. But if we look, you know, I've put an ABR bridge on here now, and I know that I like about 17 millimeters to the saddles, because that just gives a nice look. You've got a bit more down adjustment on it, sort of thing, but 17 mil I think looks nice without being too high. So if we see what string level we have roughly now. Right, we've got about 19 millimeters underneath this straight edge there. Now the neck this mortise has got to go down probably by a couple of mil, so that would bring it to 17 millimeters here or thereabouts. But then you've got to add a bit of action for the strings, so I reckon we're about 1 millimeter high on string height, really, for nice looks. I mean, I don't want the bridge hugely high, it just looks daft. Just be nice to have it a couple of mil above the bodywood, sort of thing. So like I say, the neck could probably be done with having a slight less angle on it, and I think that will be perfect then. So what I'm actually going to do now is I think I'm going to actually trim the bottom of the neck mortise a bit more here to get the neck level. I mean, there's a step here at the moment, you know, clonk, clonk, clonk. There's a step of, it says here 1.25 millimeters on my, 1.5 millimeters. So I'm going to take another millimeter off the bottom here, so I get things right. So I'm going to do that on that funny planer on my drill press, because it's still in the hole there. So I'll get that done and then get back to you. I don't know, the video went a bit funny then, but here's the neck joint now that I've planed the back slightly reduced the thickness of the neck down to its 27 mil. Got a perfect joint there, and it's just fractionally above the body top, which it should be for the fretboard to go on. And like I say, we may well have to angle the neck further back. So let's see what our neck measurements are now for the height of the bridge. This is all very approximate at this stage. But we're 17.14 millimeters there. The bridge can easily go underneath this with a fair old rise on it. Let's just check this all again, because that seems like a lot of movement there. Wonder if I had this right. Yeah, we're 17.5 mil there. that makes the bridge a little high really for my liking, but like I say, we've got to dial the neck angle back a little bit, reasonably so. You know, we've all got a bit to play with on there, but we're in the right ballpark, because by the time we've got the fretboard on, that's not the string height, that's the height at the top of the fretboard here at 17.5, and when we add a bit of action on with the string, we're going to be too high really. So I think this neck angle definitely wants to go back a little bit. I think we did it 3 degrees, or I did it about 3 degrees, so I want to probably get closer to 2.5. So that's may work on that, but let's speed up with get the other body and neck joint done. And now I've married this neck to this body, I'm actually going to destine this neck for this body. So this is Flying V number 1, and let's get the other neck joint done now. I would like the top of the bridge to be 15 millimeters really. So what I'm going to do, what I've actually done is, you can adjust it quite nicely actually. If you put the original template back on that you used to route the neck, and set it up to the current angle of the neck that you've got, that's quite easy to do. I can see now I've got this is the surface of this is now perfectly parallel to the neck, so this is the angle we currently have at the bridge. Now if we measure the distance down to the top of the body here and the top of the template, that is currently at 15 millimeters. So if we take, say, 3 millimeters off that, so we make that 12 millimeters, and put a spacer underneath, let's see what we've got now with that bit of wood. So we want somewhere around 12 millimeters. That's 11.61 millimeters. So I want it slightly higher than that. So I'll just put another, perhaps the best thing to do would, we can move this packing piece. Let's put it in front of the screw, which will give us a bit more angle. We're 11.88 millimeters there now, and you can see, if you look at the edge of the template along here, you can see that it's slightly less of a slope. So if now we reroute this neck pocket here with a bearing guided router, you can take the neck out. Now we can reroute this at less of a slope. I just feel as though I want to get it, you know, I want to get it right now before carrying on, so when I get the neck in place and stuff like that, I know, you know, everything's going to be right. So what I'll do now is I'll get my bearing guided router again, and we'll do this. Okay, this is where we start getting into precision stuff. You can see I've got my router here now with a bearing guided router on it, ready to trim this slope on the neck. down. We just set the template at the right angle. So I've set the depth of this cutter now so it won't take anything off the front of this neck tenon. So I basically put the router on the front, wound it down till it was an absolute gnats above this front lip of the neck pocket, and as you run it back in a dry run, of course it rises up because it's going to cut like about 2.5 mil out of the back there. So let's go. A bit nerve-wracking, but you know, you get set up. I put these scraps of wood in here just to lift, you know, just to support the template. But you can see where I don't know if you can see that, but you can just see the front of the cutter there. So I haven't taken anything off the front lip there, it's just been all at the back. So I can just see there I haven't run quite up to the edge, but I'll clean that up with a chisel. So it'll be interesting now to see what bridge height we have now. I'll tidy up and get you back. Okay, I've just refitted the neck now, and I can tell it's got less of a slope here. So we put the fretboard on, put the straight edge on it and have a measure here. I mean, I've just done it, but just to show you, I'm actually like 14.8 millimeters. So if we put a straight edge on there, we can easily put a bridge underneath there, but we've just got about 2 mil. It's bouncing up sort of thing. Just looks like about 2 millimeters, and then we'll add the string height. So I think that neck angle is much closer. I still might come down a fraction again, but I think that's nearer. It's certainly the guitar will work with that neck angle. If we get to fitting it all up and the string, the bridge starts to look a little bit high, I can always reduce the neck angle a bit more via the same method. But I think we've sneaked up on it a little closer, so we're all good, and all the neck joint is like fine now. So I think I'll just repeat that process on the other body, so we're both the same. So that's good. You can actually see, this will be a bit more of a demonstration as well. I mean, you can see that one there. And this one here, now you can actually see the difference in height at the back of these mortise joints. I mean, that's quite a bit lower than that, at least a couple of mil lower than that. But I'm just delighted with that. So let's get this one done and then go from there. Quite exciting having 2 flying V's around the place, isn't it? I'll get back to you.